20 years ago, there was a young girl who was a talented ballet dancer. Her mother was very proud of her and had ambitions that, someday, her daughter would become a famous ballerina. However, the girl's hopes of a bright future were dashed when she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. The doctors told her she had less than a year to live. As the months went by, her mother tried to make her as comfortable as possible, but the girl's condition worsened. Soon, she was unable to walk or even stand and had to spend most of her time lying in bed. One night, the mother was downstairs watching television when she heard bumping noises coming from her daughter's room. She raced up the stairs, opened the bedroom door, and was shocked to see that her sickly daughter was out of bed and moving around. Not only that, her daughter was jumping and dancing around the room, just like she had when she was healthy. The mother watched in delight as the young girl performed leaps and pirouettes. She grabbed a camera and started taking photos of her beloved ballet girl. Marveling at her daughter's miraculous recovery, the mother snapped picture after picture until the camera was out of film. In the end, the girl finished in the arabesque position. The mother gave her a round of applause, but when she looked at her daughter's face, she suddenly stopped clapping. The girl's eyes were rolled back in her head, and her face was deathly pale. Suddenly, she keeled over and collapsed in a heap on the bedroom floor. The ballet girl was rushed to hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. The doctors said that the ballet dancing had been too much for her weak heart to withstand. She had literally danced herself to death. The mother was inconsolable. After the funeral, the mother took the pictures to be developed. When she got them back, she flipped through the photos, remembering that last happy moment when her daughter had danced so beautifully. Suddenly, her hands started shaking, and a scream died in her throat. The photographs fell to the floor, and she collapsed. The pictures revealed that, the entire time her daughter was performing the ballet moves, there was a ghostly green hand clutching her by the head and pulling her back and forth, forcing her to dance. There was a young girl named Alicia who moved, with her parents, to a new town. They rented a big, old house that was sparsely furnished. Alicia slept in the downstairs bedroom while her parents slept upstairs. After they had been living there a few weeks, Alicia's parents noticed that she was growing very thin. As the days went on, her health seemed to get worse and worse. Then, the poor girl came down with a mysterious illness and was confined to her bed. The doctor came to examine her, and he told her parents that she was suffering from anemia. All she needed was some rest, he said, and soon she would be as good as new. However, despite what the doctor said, Alicia's condition continued to get worse and worse. Her skin was gray and pallid, her cheeks were sunken, and there were dark circles around her eyes. Her parents were distraught and had no idea what to do. While Alicia slept in her bed, her mother and father paced back and forth restlessly, wondering what could be the cause of her mysterious illness. Day by day and hour by hour, the poor girl grew worse and worse. She was so weak, she could barely move. Alicia was fading fast, and the life was ebbing from her veins. She was deathly pale, and her body was shriveled and withered. She started to have hallucinations and began screaming out in terror and babbling incoherently in a weak voice. Finally, Alicia lost consciousness and died. Her parents were inconsolable. They held a funeral service and buried their beloved daughter in the town cemetery. The day after the funeral, Alicia's mother was stripping the sheets off her daughter's bed when she noticed something on the pillow. There were 2 red stains in the white material. When she picked up the pillow, she noticed it was unusually heavy, so she called her husband to come and take a look at it. As the parents examined the pillow closely, the mother suddenly let out a scream. She felt something moving inside it. The father fetched a knife and slit open the pillow, emptying the feathers out on the floor. As the parents watched in horror, something crawled out of the pile of feathers, slowly moving its hairy legs. It was a monstrous black spider, so swollen with blood that they could scarcely make out its mouth. Night after night, as Alicia lay in bed, This hairy abomination had been stealthily sucking all of the blood from her body and slowly draining her life away. There was a very famous author named David who had written quite a few best-selling horror novels. All of the literary critics praised his talent for plot twists and surprise endings. He received a large amount of fan mail every day, and some budding authors even sent him manuscripts in the hopes that he would help them get their work published. While David took pleasure in responding to letters from his fans, he took even more pleasure in stealing the ideas of amateur writers. If he came across a manuscript with a great idea for a scary story, he would use it in one of his own books and deny the author any credit. Then, in order to hide his theft, he pulled some strings with his friends in the publishing industry to make sure that the original author never got anything published in the future. One day, David received a new manuscript in the mail. It was bound in a beautiful hardcover book. He read the first chapter and felt that he knew how the story would end. As he continued reading, he became more and more certain that he could guess the twist ending. It was growing late, but he wanted to finish reading the manuscript to see whether or not he was right. When David came to the final chapter, he realized that the last few pages of the book were stuck together. Anxious to read further, he pulled the pages apart. He felt increasingly tired, but he still kept reading. Finally, he came to the end of the book. It was exactly the twist ending he had anticipated. The husband had hanged himself just as his wife was committing suicide in the next room. David made a mental note to steal the idea and use it in his next story. Just then, he noticed that, after the words, "the end," there was a little handwritten comment from the author. It read, "I already know that you are planning to steal the ideas in this story. I know, because you did the exact same thing to me the last time I sent you a manuscript. You published it under your own name and didn't give me any credit. You ripped me off and blacklisted me in the industry. Nobody will accept my novels anymore, and I will never again be able to publish anything I write. You have ruined my life, and now I am going to have my revenge. You had to pull apart the back pages in order to read this, didn't you? Well, those pages contained a poison, arsenic, to be precise. Are you feeling tired? That is normal. It's one of the symptoms of arsenic poisoning. Soon, your heartbeat will get slower and slower until it eventually stops permanently. Don't bother trying to call an ambulance. You will be dead before they arrive. You have already been exposed for too long. Goodbye, David." Some twist endings can be very hard to predict.